Hello and welcome to The Hero Spouse. I'm Kendra Ruth, here to answer one of your questions about marriage and midlife crisis. Today we have an anonymous female left behind and forward-moving spouse with a bomb drop of July 13th, 2024, and a date of marriage of 2005. She is a vanisher who is a low-energy wallower. She says, I have a question about behaviors in general in midlife crisis. Is it normal for a midlife spouse to not get an alienator until a year or so later? And to get engaged to her after only 2 months, even when he's still married. I just wasn't sure if maybe these weren't normal midlife crisis behaviors. Not that MLC is normal. He's calling her his wife already. This hurts and it makes me feel as though hope is gone. Yes, this is perfectly normal. Oh yeah. That doesn't mean every MLCer has this pattern. So many MLCers have somebody waiting in the wings, are already having an affair, are leaving and looking for an affair, all of those. Some don't think about getting an affair, some go looking for somebody even though they don't have somebody in mind. So yours didn't have somebody, they got somebody a year later. Okay, that's still within the spectrum of midlife crisis. Now, he's still married. Yes, MLCers are still married. Perfectly normal. Now, he is saying he is engaged. He is not considering himself married to you. Okay? He has been separated from you and he is a vanisher. So in his mind, yeah, we know he's married. But he's saying, I'm not really married. I'm not married in my mind, or I'm not married in my heart. And that counts. Yeah, we know he doesn't. But that's what they say. Because it's convenient for them. It's only how they feel. Everything is based on feelings. Okay? And this is normal. He's calling her his wife already. Yeah, Chuck did that too. They called them, first thing, each other's special little names, and they called themselves each other's husband and wives from the start. And even after he came back and left again, and came back and left again. And part of that was a reassurance to her. Even when he knew he wasn't going to be with her and stay with her, it was for her. I think it was to keep her in check. There was emotional blackmail going on. And so, how do you keep her from lashing out at you? And I mean you, the MLCer. From the MLCer's perspective, if you're him and she has emotional blackmail towards you, you being the MLCer, and you, let's say you know you don't want to stay in this relationship forever and you want to keep her anger at bay, you're going to acquiesce to some of these things, like the pet names. And husband and wife, in your view, might be a pet name, and in her view, that's who you are to each other. Okay? So you're going to go for it. Yeah, let's just do it. I'm just going to do it. You just give in. Or think how desperate it is. What does it say about a relationship that they have to be calling each other that after only a few months? How desperate it is. How clingy is it? What does it really say about a relationship that somebody is married and insisting on calling this other person their spouse, or somebody is dating a married person and insisting that she call or he call her his wife, or that she call him her husband when he is someone else's husband? What does that say about her? What does that say about her fears for the relationship and for relationships? Her possessiveness, what she feels about relationships? It says a lot more about that. It doesn't say anything about the validity. It says a lot about invalidity. And you're talking about how it is towards you, but it says nothing about actually you. There's really none of this is about you, and it's not geared towards you. None of those arrows have really been aimed at you. And I know it feels so personal because it's a betrayal, but they aren't doing it to target you. So this alienator in your situation is probably not a narcissist who is doing it because she wanted to hurt you. There are those. There are some alienators who are like, you know what? I want her life. Let's say we've got a lady named Tina over there and she likes Tina's life. It's not that she likes Tina's husband. She likes Tina's life. And I don't really like Tina. I like Tina's life. And maybe I like Tina, but I like her life. I want her life. I want what she has. And I want to take it away from her. She doesn't deserve it, but I do. I want what she has. I want it. But I don't want, not only do I want it, I don't want her to have it. That's a narcissist. Her goal in this affair isn't to have the man, it's to have Tina's man. That's a narcissist that is targeting the alienator, or that is targeting the left behind forward moving spouse. And the MLCer is just a pawn. But that's not most or all of these relationships. That could be some. Yours is, this is something between those two. This is this limerence thing going on. And unfortunately, I'm sorry. You're the person that got pushed out onto the side. And that doesn't mean that you're worthless or anything like that. It's that it's not about you. And something being not about you doesn't mean you're not important. It means it's his crisis. It means it's their temper tantrum. It means it's his trauma. And whatever trauma she brings into it, and her coping skills and her negative things, and she's targeting, if she targets you, it's not because she knows you specifically and personally. You're just this faceless thing and being that he knows he says as my wife. But she probably doesn't, if she's not someone you know. She doesn't have to think about you personally. And it's hurting you personally. But she's not thinking of it that way. And you're feeling like hope is gone, but it's not real. What they have isn't real. I can't tell you about your relationship. I can tell you about theirs. And it's based on something that is not real. Now, I cannot tell you whether it can be something that can become real. I can tell you the odds are relatively doomed because it is starting with inauthenticity. It is starting with lies. It is starting on a house of cards. It is starting on destruction, and it is starting on the back of you. In other words, it is starting with betrayal. It is starting with crisis. It is starting, but not. It is not doomed because it starts with limerence. Some will say that. Some have an idea of limerence, that limerence is only in a toxic situation, and that other situations that are similar aren't limerence. And I'm not going to be in that camp, but some might take that view, that all limerence is this kind. And if it's not like that, then it wouldn't just be necessarily be limerence. I'm of the view that we can have that fireworks and, oh my gosh, the love, the vibrance, the feeling of the addiction of falling in love like you've taken the love potion. But it can, the addiction pieces can burn out. And yet you can have something real left over. I'm of that view. Because maybe for some, that could be how we fall. Now, if we do it too fast, too addictively, too much, there are those who are addicted to being addicted to falling in love. And and do it perpetually, and they have to have it, then it's a real problem, like an alcoholic having to have alcohol. But when it's just that's how it happened. But there are those who it really is an actual addiction, and so they are serial limerents. That's a little different. That would be the toxic, where I would say none of them were probably going to be real. But there are plenty of people who say, yeah, there were so many fireworks. And then they were married for 50 years, 60 years, 70 years. But they remembered these big fireworks times. And then they had this sweet love affair for the rest of their lives. That doesn't mean it was all just fireworks. So I don't want to dismiss and minimize what they felt that they might describe as, oh yeah, I remember that time of limerence. Okay. But the odds that the affair with an alienator is going to be that, yeah, probably not. Okay. Given how it starts, given the toxicity that it is starting in, given, look at what they are doing. They are calling themselves husband and wife, well, one of them has a wife. And why are they doing that? Is she afraid that he's going to leave her, so she has to call him that? She has to say, you are my husband. Is she doing it to him? She's saying that? Is that part of her? Or is he doing it? Or is both of them? Is it saying, you're mine? Is it a possessiveness? Because those are possessive terms. I was nervous. I don't want to say afraid, but I was nervous to call Chuck my boyfriend and tell others. We were at a friend's house, and we were all having some pizza and things. And it was the same friend that the first time I met Chuck, we all had gone jet skiing, and he took me. I just met him, and he took me jet skiing with this friend, and then we went to that friend's house that he lived with his mom, and it was in school. And so several times that's where we ended up. Had pizza, and I was helping him study. And so we were at that same friend's house. It was like the second month or so we'd been dating or so. And I heard her on the phone, and she was like, oh, yeah, Chuck's here with his girlfriend. Oh, yeah, that's me. That's me. And I think I knew I wasn't just a friend, but I was like, I can say it now. I knew we'd been on dates, but I was like, now I'm free to say it. I hadn't wanted to claim it. And then I didn't want to claim fiance until it was official. But I wasn't going to say husband. We were living together. I wasn't going to say that, even though that was the plan. But not until it had happened. Because I didn't want to cross that boundary. I didn't think it was appropriate. It was too possessive. Why are they being so possessive? You need permission for that. And they've given each other some level of permission, or one has required it. And to me, there's something toxic in that, unless they've done it. Some people are like, you know what, we're not going to get married, and we don't believe in marriage. But clearly one of them does, because he's already married. So there's a level of toxicity there, rather than you feeling like hope is gone. And this is some sweet little love affair they're having. I don't want you or anyone else to think that when they see this sort of pattern happening in the infidelity relationship, it's toxic. And in the case that you're describing, as I recall from what you said in a previous question, there is quite an age difference as well. I think it might be 12 years, but it might be 20 years. And I think there might be, she might have a child. So they just met, really rapid relationship, and she might be really have reason to really latch in, or he does. Okay. So I don't want you to think that. So instead, and for you're asking a general question, but for you and for everybody, what do we do instead? Focus on us. Focus on you. We look back, and in your case, you have a vanisher, okay? You have that gift of time. I know you're tired of it. The gift of space. And it's so hard because you feel like, oh, but I need to see what's going on there, and because I need to know, and get so anxious about what's happening. But take that gift of time. Work on the detachment. Okay? Some deep breaths. Because I want you to get to a point where you can neutralize this anxiety and these fears so they are not triggering to you. And you can just kind of let the fears and anxiety fall away. It's neutral, and it doesn't do anything. It doesn't trigger you. It's there. You can hear about something. Oh, so and so is dating somebody. Yeah, but that's all it is. You're like, that's gross, and it's bleh, and he's married to me, and I don't approve of it, but it did not activate my fight or flight. And that's going to be your detachment. We need to get you to that place. And when I say you, I mean you who has asked the question. I mean you, the rest of you who are listening. So that is you, plural, for all of us. We need to get to that place where we are detached. We care, definitely, but we are not activated. Okay? We're not in fight or flight. We are stable emotionally. We care, we have compassion, but we're so not activated because we can now look back to ourselves. And we can go back to our focusing on our own healing and getting on with our own development and lives. And on with our own lives is if we're moving forward away from trying to be standers, or what we want to do to be standers and heal and hope for reconnection and reconciliation. Either way, what do we need to do for that? They're the same thing. What we need to do. We need to heal. We need to become our best selves. What do you need to do for that? Okay. Take in joy. Laugh. Love yourself. Embrace this world, the good and the bad. Okay? Because you can't control what's going on out there in his midlife crisis. He's going to go through it. And the hope is he will come through. And then the hope for you that you're hoping for is that he will look toward you, look forward toward you rather than back, and say, you know what? I miss her. And you know what? Look at how amazing she is. Look at how wonderful she's done. And look how strong she is. How is she so amazing? And all that I have gone and done and put her through, and wow, uh, I, I wish I could be like that. What do I need to do? She is an example. I need to learn from that, and I want to be a part of that again. I'm gonna call her up. I'm gonna go see her. I want her in my life again. I want her forward in my life. And I use that forward instead of back. I want her back in my life. I want her forward in my life. I don't know if she'll accept me, but I want her enough in my life that I'm going to ask. And a lot of them don't have enough, but if you have kids and stuff, sometimes they're in communication anyway. And you have been open enough, if you've had that communication with grace and boundaries, that you're still there. Okay? But you're able to be more open enough with grace if you're healed and have those emotions regulated. So emotional regulation, probably the priority, okay, for everyone. So I want you to think about that. You and You, everyone. So I hope that helps. And go out there and seek joy. And